Καλώς ήρθατε στο τρίτο session του Social Experience Forum με τα βαριά πυροβολικά, όπως άκουσα να τους αποκαλούν οι διοργανωτές στο παρασκήνιο, τους experts. Θα ξεκινήσει πάρα πολύ δυνατά αυτό το τρίτο session με ένα όνομα που είναι έτσι βαρύ. Ένα όνομα που μου το είπαν στο τηλέφωνο, μου λένε μήπως μπορείς να έρθεις να μας βοηθήσεις να παρουσιάσεις το αυτό. Μου λέει θα μιλήσουν διάφοροι, θα είναι ο Economides. Λέω θα έρθω. Ευχαριστώ, το έκλεισα κατευθείαν. Είναι ένας πολύ αγαπημένος ομιλητής. Είναι ένας από τους πιο γνωστούς brand strategies παγκοσμίως, αλλά και πολύ λατρεμένος ομιλητής. Η ομιλία του δεν γίνεται, έχει πάνω από 4 εκατομμύρια views και όχι άδικα. Ο Economides είναι εδώ σήμερα με την ιδιότητά του, βέβαια, και το χαρακτηριστικό του ανθρώπου που ξέρει όσο λίγοι άνθρωποι το branding και το brand strategy κτλ. Αλλά σήμερα είναι εδώ επίσης και με την ιδιότητά του ως πρόεδρος του Διοικητικού Συμβουλίου του Διεθνούς Οργανισμού Make-A-Wish. Και με αυτή την ιδιότητα θα έρθει σήμερα στη σκηνή του Social Experience Forum να μας μιλήσει για τη δύναμη των social media και των digital πρακτικών στο CSR, στην εταιρική κοινωνική ευθύνη. Μία λοιπόν διαφορετική ομιλία από τον κύριο Economide. Παρακαλώ, αν είναι έτοιμος να έρθει στη σκηνή και να μας πει αυτά που μόνο εκείνος ξέρει. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Τιμή μας.
Hi guys. I'm sorry I'm speaking English today. My Greek is actually terrible. Μια φορά παράγγειλα μια σαλάτα με μπατζούρια. Ευτυχώς δεν είχανε. Μπατζάρια δεν είχανε. Yeah, I grew up in South Africa as a kid with a long, funny name, but as a real South African kid. And with a name like that, it's no surprise that I studied economics. There's a problem with economics, I find. Economics is very good at telling you the score, but it's not very good at telling you why people do what they do. It's not very good at motivating people. It's not very good at bringing results, okay? And, you know, one of my favorite images is this over here, 2004, when the Greek football team came back with the European Cup. And that's what it's all about. When people feel good, they do amazing things. When people feel good, they do amazing things. That took me towards marketing. Because marketing is about motivating people. And marketing, by the way, is not about external. It's internal, external. In fact, the most important piece of marketing is internal. Okay? But there's a problem with marketing. It looks something like that. And like that. Marketing has changed completely. You know, it drives me nuts. I sit with clients and I hear things like, let's launch a viral campaign. Yeah. What is this? That's not the way it works, right? And this is what I see happening all the time. What the fuck happened to my job? What the fuck happened to my job? Truth is, we're still learning about this phenomenon, right? But in fact, it's not that unusual because what is happening is everything has changed, but nothing has changed. We've gone back to oral traditions where people speak to each other, with each other. And if they like something, they pass it on. Like a good joke. If you hear a good joke, you tell your friends about it. It's about content. And I heard a word earlier, I think it was Jeremy who said it, authenticity, being real, expressing yourself, okay? I'm going to talk a bit about those things, but I'm also going to talk about one of my passions, which is Make-A-Wish. I'm chairman of the board of Make-A-Wish International. It's my night job, and I'll talk a bit about that too. There's a growing realization that brands need to think of themselves as media companies. As media companies. And probably the brand that has done that in the best possible way, and very early, is Red Bull. The CEO of Red Bull a couple of years ago said, we are not a soft drink manufacturer. We're a media company who manufacture a soft drink. And they established something called Red Bull Media. Red Bull Media, there's the Red Bull TV page. They sponsor extreme sports in order to generate content. And it's all highly sponsored content. And they established Red Bull Heroes, which then drive sales of the product through amazing content. Right? But they do their sponsorship in order to generate good content. It's what that formula is all about. But you don't have to look at content strictly in those terms, because everything communicates. Everything you do, everything you don't do, everything you say, and everything you don't say communicates. Which means the brand experiences you create, you're creating content. And if you create great content, then that goes out into social networks. And that gets liked, it gets engaged with, and it spreads. Google, this is a great statement. The Google office is a 3D press release that connects with consumers and employees and communicates its self-declared mission to improve the world. So it's not about having cool offices. It's about having offices which communicate to the world. It's all part of Google's media, if you like. Okay? Apple. This guy over here is totally engaged and connected with that brand. Not because he's been advertised to, but they've connected with him. They've engaged with him. He stood in line now for 12 hours waiting to buy the new iPhone. He doesn't really know what it does. He doesn't really have the money to buy it, but he really wants it. He buys it, he goes home, and he makes an unboxing video. And he puts it on YouTube. 1.5 million views. So that's content. It's media content about Apple. It's a media story, which this guy is doing very willingly because he connects with Apple. And that's the challenge we've got, is really to connect with consumers. Authenticity. I want to underline that word. It's vital. Starbucks. Starbucks has got 24,000 stores around the world. It's ridiculous if you think about it. One coffee shop in Seattle 20 years ago. 24,000 stores around the world. But inside those stores, content is created through the brand experience. And that's why Starbucks is what it is. It's not because the coffee's good, it's not. And it's damn expensive too. Here's another example of media as content. United Airlines. I was going to show you the video, but it's so horrific. It's like a pig being slaughtered. It's horrible. It's terrible. But over here, United dragged this guy off the plane, forgetting that people have got mobile phones. People filmed this and put it straight onto Twitter and Facebook and all over the place. And before you know it, you had this huge explosion around United Airlines. By the way, the company lost $1.4 billion in stock value 10 days after this incident. Now, there was a time not too long ago, if that happened, it would affect maybe 100 people on the plane who tell their families about it, maybe a couple of friends, and it would disappear. Not anymore. Everything communicates. Everything creates content. And I remind you of something. People don't talk about okay things. We talk about amazingly good stuff or amazingly bad stuff. Everything in between, we don't talk about. And bad news is often very good news for the media. We need to be aware of these things. So, fly the friendly skies. Rubbish. Bullshit. Here's a company who's still living in that kind of world. That world doesn't exist anymore. It really doesn't exist. Brand as media company. And that doesn't mean that we're out there creating content. We're creating the kind of experiences that become content. Okay. I'm going to talk to you today from my position inside Make-A-Wish. I'm going to tell you a bit about the organization so that you can understand it. But I really want, through this, to talk to you about my feelings about digital and philanthropy. Just a couple of words about Make-A-Wish. Charlie Chaplin, wonderful social commentator, he made a statement where he said, hair is vitally personal. Children weep vigorously when it is cut for the first time. No matter how it grows, bushy, straight, or curly, they feel they're being shorn of a part of their personality. And I guess that's true. Imagine being a little kid going for your first haircut. It's like, what's happening to me? You're taking part of me away. Now imagine a kid who's lost all of their hair because of cancer. How does that kid feel? Everything's taken away. Everything. The official mission statement of Make-A-Wish. We grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions to enrich the human experience with hope, strength, and joy. And here are a few examples. Here's a young Greek kid who wanted to swim with dolphins. Look at the smile on her face. And these are typical wishes. Somebody wants to become a ballerina, somebody wants to meet Justin Bieber, somebody wants to go to Disneyland, which is very common, somebody wants a computer, or wants to do an art show or something like that. These are common wishes. But let me show you some not so common wishes. I want to see what a watermelon looks like. That was one kid's deepest wish. I wish to see what a watermelon looks like. Or this one over here. A kid in Korea whose wish was for us to build a well for poor people in Africa in a very specific village which she'd identified. We built the well, and her wish was realized. So there's some very special things happening inside that organization. I want to talk about the power of the wish because it's important. Some people say, yeah, we just create happy moments for kids. No, it's not like that. It's much deeper than that. That's Maslow's hierarchy. I guess everybody knows it. At the bottom, we've got survival needs. Health is one of them. Food and water are others. And you go all the way up to the top, and you get up there to self-actualization, creativity and other forms of self-actualization, deep ambitions and desires, often halted by life's challenges. That's a difficult place to get to. It's difficult, because there's so many other needs that you need to fulfill before that. Right at the top is self-transcendence, giving back, doing something for others, okay? Now here's how Make-A-Wish works. The battle for survival is a priority in the life of a sick child. The pursuit of deeper ambitions and desires are on hold, okay? So a kid who's struggling with cancer for their life is right down here. They're in survival mode. None of that stuff exists because they can't think about it. They're in operating theaters all day. They're with doctors. They're cut off from their childhood. They're in survival mode. Right up here, you've got deep ambitions and desires. Okay? So what Make-A-Wish does is it takes a kid with a child with a life-threatening medical condition, and we take them all the way up there by realizing a deep ambition. That's a massive jump. That's why you see that smile. And it's transforming. It's life transforming. So this is the transformational power of a wish. Going on to the other side of the coin, a wish is enabled only through giving. If we don't get money, we're a philanthropic organization. If we don't get donations, we can't do our work. Very simple stuff. So over there, we're talking right at the top, giving. This is the transformational power of giving time, talent, or treasure to enable a wish. We take somebody from here, wherever they might be, right up to the top. Okay? So, a wish has the power to transform a life and change the world. We operate with 40 affiliates. One of them is here in Greece, in 50 countries around the world. We grant 30,000 wishes per year. Quite a number, which is one wish every 17 minutes. Every 17 minutes, somewhere around the world, we grant a kid's wish. Our vision is to grant the wish of every eligible child. 1.5 million wishes per year. One wish every 21 seconds. Impossible. Nelson Mandela said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." I became chairman in November of 2014, and I spoke to the organization about a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, theorio. Okay? The power of having that kind of theorio is, by the way, we were in Antwerp at the time. I took them to see this cathedral, which took 190 years to build. Now imagine you're the guy laying the foundations, and you know that your great-grandchildren are not going to see this thing finished. but it's worth doing, so you do it. The power of a BHAG is that it makes you patient, because you understand that you'll never achieve what you want to achieve tomorrow. It's going to take a long time. But it also makes you impatient, because you know that if you don't start doing something today, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, you'll never do it. So the BHAG says, be patient. It's going to take a long time. But it also says, start doing something now, and do something tomorrow, and the next day, never stop. The biggest obstacle that any philanthropy has got is funds. And there's a basic problem here. People's mental budget for charity is finite. I do not wake up in the morning thinking about how much money I'm going to give to charity today. Most of us think about the new car we want to buy, or the new iPhone that's just come out, or about lunch that we're going to have. We do not think of giving to charity. It's not top of our minds. The major sources for fundraising in the entire charity world today is individual fundraising, where we make appeals to individuals, and corporate partnerships. And the way these are done is social events, for example, gala dinners, and corporate CSR programs. The two major sources. Okay? The issue we've got is to have sustainable funding. And one thing that I have realized is the following. 1 million times $1 is much more sustainable than 1 times $1 million. And guess where that leads you? Social media. That's exactly where it leads you. Mass reach, but with compelling content, with engagement. You can't just be asking for money, you're not going to get it. I want to show you something.
I've been called out by everybody for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Homer Simpson, Mike Tyson, Vince McMahon, like everybody's going crazy over this thing. I guess they want to see whether or not it's my real hair, which it is. So here's what I'm going to do. Miss Universe and Miss USA, I own it. They're here. They're going to really do a number on me. I'm challenging President Obama, my son Donald, my son Eric. Let's go, ladies. What a mess.
O Elicios. Ο Μαλάκας. Μέχρι και αυτός το έκανε. 30 million challenges, 3 million donations, 115 million in 5 weeks. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Can anybody tell me the name of the charity? Ice Bucket what? Ice Bucket Challenge. That's a great name for a charity. Anybody know? ALS. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. This is the problem. The Ice Bucket Challenge is bigger than the charity. The Ice Bucket Challenge is why people did that. Trump didn't do that because he wants to give money to ALS. He did that because he wants his little bit of show-off time. Did you notice how he said, I own them, Miss Universe and Miss USA? Everybody did it for their 15 minutes of fame on YouTube or Facebook. That's a problem because it's not sustainable. The future of fundraising is digital. I'm sure about that. But sustainable digital fundraising requires committed audience engagement. That's the only way it becomes sustainable. And here's this great statement, which was in Forbes magazine. It's not about the ice bucket. You could sit in a room for a year and come up with 1,000 ideas that seem like a breakthrough success, and then most of them wouldn't work. Instead, a charity needs to start by examining its core values, its vision and its mission, and then figure out a smart yet simple campaign around it. It's all about brand. It's all about expressing who you really are in a powerful way. and getting people engaged with that. It's not about a gimmick. By the way, great marketing is always about that. It's not about gimmicks. It's about expressing who you really are. Authenticity. Now, if we're going to reach this BHAG, this big, hairy, audacious goal, we need to become the global benchmark charity brand. Critical. Because people do not think of charity. So we want to be top of mind. Okay? We have to become the category protagonists, the people who really own the space, called charities. No matter where I go in the world, if I ask anybody to name me a soft drink, they're going to say Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola owns that space. They're the protagonist of that category. What's the Coca-Cola of cigarettes? The Marlboro sports shoes. The Nike of coffee shops. Mikau, no? The Starbucks of beer. In Cyprus they say Kio. The Heineken of German luxury cars. The Mercedes-Benz of search engines. The Google of computers. The Apple of charities. Got to do it. Got to do it. Absolutely got to do it. Now, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. There's a guy called Simon Sinek. If you haven't seen his video, please look at it. He talks about the golden circle. He says everybody knows what they do. Very few know how they do it. But very few can express why they do it. And if you look at all the great brands that I've just listed up there, they've all got a why. They've all got a why. So there's the golden circle. And he says, start with why. You've got to talk from the inside out, not from the outside in. Okay? And if you think of all the great brands, that's exactly what they do. Start with why. Now, I'm going to illustrate this with my dog. That's the dog there. We're both smoking cigars in that shot, as you can see. I got into terrible trouble with that. Because somebody said to me, δεν τρέψε κύριε Economides. Αυτός δεν ξέρει πόσο κακό τον κάνει το τσιγάρο. Λέω, μην ασχείτε, κανείς μόνο ένα πακέτο το χρόνο. It's actually Photoshop. Anyway, I found this dog when he was 5 days old in Plaka. I used to live in Plaka. He was this big. His eyes were still closed. He was full of fleas. I took him to the vet, and the vet said to me, this dog will not live. I said, this dog will live. And I found on Google, I found a recipe, which is, just in case you find a small little dog, it's milk, honey, and eggs. 16 drops every half hour. I took him with me to client meetings. It was unbelievable, the mess, right? So this dog kind of like grew up, and he's a big dog, by the way, grew up, and I started to look for the right dog food for him. I don't taste dog food. So I wanted to get him the best food, but I'm not going to taste it, right? I needed something else to go by. Along comes a company and says, everything we do is for the love of dogs. And they show me this video. to taste the dog food. Because I know they've connected with me. They love dogs, I love dogs, food's got to be good. So, their why, everything we do is for the love of dogs. Okay? Let's go back to Make-A-Wish. I showed you this ladder earlier. That's the transformational power, because we go from there, survival, all the way up to there, which is the achievement of deeply held desires, wishes. Okay? Our belief, our why. A wish has the power to transform a life and change the world. That's why I am involved with Make-A-Wish. It's our why as an organization. Okay? We believe that a wish has the power to transform a life and change the world. Now, we need to execute that, right? And here's another statement from Cynic. Your work is a megaphone for what you believe. So you've got your why, which is your authenticity, to go back to what Jeremy was talking about earlier, and now you need to express it in everything you do. You need to megaphone it. You need to act like a media company and create everything around there that makes your why come to life. Does that make sense? So, 30,000 wishes per year, one wish every 17 minutes, which means every 17 minutes we've got these amazing stories happening. For example, this kid over here, Australian kid, living in northern Australia in the desert. My one true wish, she said to us, is to play in the snow. Easy solution, fly her to Switzerland with her family, let her go skiing for a couple of days or weeks in Switzerland, fly her back. You know what we did? We took a snow machine to the desert. Okay? This kid over here, my deepest ambition is to see a unicorn fly. By the way, look at that expression. Isn't that amazing? It's phenomenal. You can see what's happening to that kid, right? So we took this horse, we put a horn on the horse, and I don't know how they did it, but the horse flew. Red Bull. So you've got these incredible stories happening all the time. And it's so frustrating because I meet people from affiliates around the world and they say, wow, we did a wish last week. We made this unicorn fly. I said, hey, show me some pictures. And they pull out their phone and they got some little snapshots. These are stories. It's beautiful, beautiful stories. Okay. So we've got an amazing human story taking place every 17 minutes. What we've done is, we've designed a program where we really are thinking like a media company. It's about wish capture, understanding what the kid's wish is, which is the basic idea that I think Mary Boo was speaking about, right? We then develop the wish design, which is the script, okay? We then grant the wish, which is the production, okay? And then we communicate it, which is the distribution. So what we do is actually our media content. Okay? I want to give you an example of this. Batkid. Batkid was a wish which happened in San Francisco in 2013, where this young kid who was suffering from leukemia wanted to be a superhero. And we did it in San Francisco. And what happened that day was just phenomenal. The whole city became Gotham City. The mayor was involved. The whole city became involved. It just captured everybody's attention. And the thing went completely viral. People flew to San Francisco just to be there that day. Millions of people were watching it live, right, on social media. And then it became a documentary film. And now Julia Roberts has actually bought the rights, and she wants to make a movie out of this. I'm going to show you the trailer for the documentary. It's quite phenomenal. That's the little kid. I mean, look at that face. Watch this. Now, what we do is that we make wishes true for kids, right? But why we do it is why we did that. You can't do that if you're not thinking about why you do it, right? Which is to transform somebody's life, okay? By the way, the kind of exposure out of there, we did nothing. We did nothing. All we did is we captured the kids' real wish, we designed it in a great way, we executed it, and we distributed it. Everything else happened because it's a great story. So people just got engaged and picked it up, and it's become huge. Okay? People love great stories. Nobody talks about okay stuff. Nobody. Nobody. I had an okay lunch today. Boring. Find your why. And this, I think, is exactly, Mary Boo spoke about that too. The need to be you, to be authentic. Find your why. Find what it is that drives you. Authenticity. Design brand experiences that express your why. It's not about sponsoring extreme sport, as Red Bull does. That's one way to do it. There are much better ways to do it. Just design brand experiences that really express your why. Remember that everything communicates. Absolutely everything. What you do, what you don't do, what you say, what you don't say. Everything communicates. Start from the inside. You've got to get your entire organization, if you're working inside an organization, to understand this why and to believe in it. Inside every podía at Starbucks, look at what it says. We create inspired moments in each customer's day. Anticipate, connect, personalize, own. Inspired moments, because each one of those is a story. Okay? The most important lesson I've learned. When I was at university, I thought that when I started working, this is how I'd work. Conducting an orchestra with ad agencies and designers and people who worked for me and event companies and all sorts of other things, and I'd be the conductor of an orchestra on the marketing plan. Okay? I've realized something else. Marketing is like jazz. Marketing is like jazz. And especially today, it's like jazz. You've got to know your music well, but then you've got to let go of everything you know. Miles Davis, one of my heroes, I've happened to see him like 3-4 times, right? He never played the same song twice in the same way. He responded to the audience. He was reading the audience. He made mistakes, didn't matter. The group was together, and God, could they play music. Marketing is like jazz. Today's world needs consistency. You can't build a brand if you're not consistent. The problem is that you need agility. Okay? Gone are the days where you've got a problem and it's like, let me brief the ad agency. And you wait for a month. And you reject the work and they come back with more. It doesn't work like that. You've got to respond like this. You have to be agile. You have to be agile. The most important thing you need is relevance. You can't be irrelevant. So you want consistency, relevance, and agility. And there's a paradox inside here because building a brand means being consistent. So the more you can understand your why, the more you're able to be agile. By the way, jazz bands are consistent, they're relevant, and they're agile. Okay? And it takes me all the way back to Aristotle, who I really believe was the original marketing thinker. Ethos, consistency, why you do what you do. Pathos, relevance, getting that emotional response out of people. Logos, what you say, what you don't say, what you do, and what you don't do. And the result of all of that, we are what we consistently do. That doesn't mean we don't change our logos. Of course we do. But we are consistent. Authentic, Jeremy said. Okay? We are what we consistently do, because excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I really want to thank the organizers today for inviting me here. It's a great pleasure to be here. And it's the first time I've really spoken about Make-A-Wish as an example of branding, but I think that there's a lot inside there because we happen to be an organization where I think our stories are some of the best stories that exist. I mean, we've got it there. If we can just capture them, design them, produce them well, distribute them well, the brand kind of like speaks for itself. So that to me becomes what marketing and communication in today's world should be all about. If I leave you with anything, it's with the words of Aristotle. Ethos, pathos, logos. Thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
First of all, he's all right now, the Batkid, right?
Yeah, the Batkid's fine.
Miles.
By the way, there's this belief that all these kids are like dying. They're not dying. They've got life-threatening medical conditions. And in fact, because they get their wish granted, they kind of believe that yinete. All right? So they reach out and they fight. And the family around them reaches out with them, right? So it's more about giving that spirit of, I want to survive, it's worth surviving. They're not all kids who are about to pass away. Some of them do, but it's not all like that.
I think it's worth stretching this out.
Yeah.
Γιατί είναι πολύ σημαντικό ότι μέσα από αυτές τις ευχές νιώθουν πραγματικά καλύτερα. Δηλαδή έχουν δει αποτελέσματα που μπορεί να οφείλονται σε πολύ μεγάλο βαθμό στο ότι είδαν την ευχή τους να πραγματοποιείται. Nice. So, υπάρχει κάποια ερώτηση που θέλετε, θα πρέπει να εξηγήσετε τα αγγλικά σας ενδεχομένως λίγο, αλλά και στα ελληνικά θα καταλάβετε.
Μιλάω τέλεια ελληνικά, δεν σας είπα στην αρχή.
Εκτός τα μπατζάρια. Θέλω να σας ρωτήσω εγώ μια ερώτηση. Δηλαδή, προσπαθούσα να παρακολουθήσω, να βλέπω ανάποδα, θα κάθομαι μπροστά τώρα, στραβώθηκα.
Γιατί από πίσω?
Because, I don't know, stupid me. Και τα έβλεπα όλα ανάποδα. You talked a lot about, and you stretched a lot, the why part. And when the why part has to do with something relevant to CSR or something philanthropic, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what makes a why that is not about other people and selfish legit?
Well, you know, to have a why that connects with other people, which is not about other people, is a difficult thing. But I think there are some examples, right? The Nike why is a very powerful one, right? Nike talks about finding your greatness, right? This word "just do it" is really expressing this notion of finding your greatness. And that's a very individual why, very individual. So there are whys which are individual. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. It's a great why. They don't talk about fuel consumption and top speed and stuff like that. They say the best or nothing. So that's a very personal thing as well. And if you're one of those people who wants the best or nothing, you kind of like connect with Mercedes. I think one of the important things about a why is that we tend too often to make the mistake of making ourselves the hero of our story. We're not the heroes. We're the enablers of the story. The why's got to be relevant to somebody else, okay? I'll give you an example. Star Wars. We're not Luke Skywalker, ever. We're Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're the guys who give the magic sword to allow other people to become heroes. That's when marketing becomes great. Is when you give a gift to somebody else. They pay you for it, of course, but that's another story.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it was an honor that we had
It was
you
great to
today.
be here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
You need your laptop, right? Θέλετε να ρωτήσετε κάτι? I'm really sorry. Τι θέλετε? Ναι. Στον κύριο Economides. Ναι. Α, το ακούσατε. Είναι ένα comment.
Να είναι ένα make-a-wish στη χώρα τους, έχουν περάσει από κάτι σαν αυτό. Δηλαδή, τον νιώθουν πολύ βαθιά μέσα τους. Πολύ βαθιά. By the way, κάνουμε πολλή δουλειά με γιατρούς και τα λοιπά. Γιατί δεν είναι μόνο αυτό που πιστεύουμε εμείς. Δηλαδή, έχουμε κάνει και studies που δείχνουν όταν δίνεις ένα παιδί που η ζωή του έχει γίνει τίποτα. Δεν είναι παιδί πια, έτσι. Ξαφνικά τον δίνεις αυτή ελπίδα που μπορεί να πολεμάει για κάτι, ξέρεις κάτι, αντιδράει και θέλει να το κάνει. Αντιδράει. Ξέρεις πόσα παιδιά λένε βαριέμαι, δεν θέλω να πεθάνω. Ξαφνικά, αν γίνεται κάτι, μια βαθύ επιθυμία πραγματικότητα, το παιδί καταλαβαίνει πώς αξίζει τον κόπο να πολεμάει. Πρέπει εμείς στην Ελλάδα να μάθουμε και αυτό. Κάπου του είπα, γίνεται και για μας, έτσι. Είναι το ίδιο πράγμα. Πρέπει να πιστεύουμε για να κάνεις κάτι. Ευχαριστώ πολύ για αυτό το σχόλιο.
Πολύ συγκινητικές στιγμές στο Social Experience Forum και το ακόμα καλύτερο κομμάτι από το να είναι κάτι συγκινητικό είναι να ξέρουμε ότι μπορούμε, αν θέλουμε, και εμείς να βοηθήσουμε. Δεν είναι απλώς κάτι που βλέπεις, είναι και κάτι που μπορείς να συνεισφέρεις. Χρόνο, ιδέα ή οτιδήποτε. Και αν δεν είναι το Make-A-Wish, μπορεί να είναι κάτι άλλο, έτσι.